Hi, happy Thursday. Welcome to Romance Happy Hour.
Hi.
Dawn and I are super excited to have Kat Schield and Alessandra Torre with us
Yes.
tonight on
Hi,
this wet, well, for me, it's a wet and cold Thursday night. Well, Kat, you're local to me too, but so yeah, we're super excited to have you guys here. And Dawn, you want to go ahead and say hi and let us know what you've been up to the past 2 weeks, what you're working on?
Hey. So I am editing, like always, revising, and trying to keep up with my family, to be honest. They're kind of making me go around in circles. So pretty much just editing and marketing. But I am also getting the plot for my next Western out because I haven't released a Western in quite a while. So I'm doing that. And that should be done by the end of the year because I only got about 20,000 words left on it. So what about you, Dylan?
I'm working on 3 different projects at once, and
Of course you are.
I've never done this before. So it's I've done 2. I mean, I'm okay with 2. Oops, I just told everybody to turn their phones down and I left mine up. But yeah, I have done 2 before, but 3 is new for me, and so it's been a little crazy, but it's all good. So
you always seem to have so many projects, though, more than 2.
Well, and I'm waiting on edits. So the first book in my new series that's coming out next summer with Berkeley, I should be getting edits on that any day, and I should be getting a cover any day. So when I get that, I'll be super excited to share that with you guys.
Yay.
So, and welcome, Kat and Alessandra. You're going to tell us a little bit about what you write and what you're working on, and let us know.
You want me to start?
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, I'm Kat. I write for Harlequin Desire and short contemporary stories. And right now I'm working on, I just turned in a book on October 1st. So I'm working on the proposal for my next book. So it's, at this point, it's another one of my Sweet Tea and Scandal stories set in Charleston, South Carolina. It'll be the 5th book, and I'm working right now, or what I'm going to read tonight is from the 4th book. So really excited. Not, sure 100% how the book will turn out because, it's proposal stage, but it always changes at the end. So
nice.
Very cool. And Alessandra has a book release today. So
yeah, today.
Yeah, we're thrilled that you're celebrating your release day with us.
I don't even have a paperback of it. So, but it's a duet, and this is the first book in the duet, Filthy Vows, and today is release day for Twisted Marriage, which is the sequel. So release day, as y'all know, but the viewers might know, is normally like insanity. And so I'm like normally stumbling around in a fog of like stress and excitement and nerves. And, but it's been like a very quiet day. It's been good. So I'm excited to be here. I didn't have anything planned for tonight. So it's great that I can be here. And I am working on, I've been like Dylan doing 2 books at once. I've been working on the book that just released today, which came like down to the wire on edits and making release day. And then I have a traditional book that isn't coming out until October of 2020. And that, of course, like the timing, just like both of those deadlines are 8 days apart. So after I sign off tonight, I'll be up till probably 2 or 3 in the morning. And I have about 20,000 words left. So in 6 days. So I've got to make that deadline or else. So it's a new publisher I haven't worked with before. So I really want to,
Who's the publisher?
Thomas and Mercer.
Oh,
That's an Amazon imprint.
yeah.
Nice. Very cool.
So I heard you say y'all. So where are you from?
Now I live in Key West, Florida, but I'm from a small town in Georgia called Statesboro.
Okay.
And
Georgia.
Yeah, and I moved here just a year ago from like the Panhandle of Florida. Okay. So I'm from North Florida, which is really like South Georgia. So yeah, so I'm Southern.
Yay. Mm-hmm. We drove through, moved when we were moving through Georgia. Mm-hmm. We love Atlanta. Chattahoochee State Park, we just could stay there.
Oh, it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous area. And Kat, you said you published a book in South Carolina.
Yeah.
What the book was set in?
Yeah. To be
Southern
honest, I've never been to Charleston. It's kind of my fantasy type of thing,
you have a tax write-off reason to go. So.
Exactly. Yeah. I was in Savannah a couple of years ago and I just love the area.
It's so similar, in culture and feel.
Yeah. And of course, if you talk to people, who've been to both places, they will, Savannah people think that Charleston's better and back and forth. But really the reason I did South Carolina was I fell in love with Southern Charm, the TV show, and I just absolutely love it. So I was like, I need to set a book there. So that became 3, 4, and we'll hopefully keep going with it because it's really fun. It's a fun area.
It is. So. And there's so much culture and history and personalities in the South. I love Southern romances.
Yeah, I do too. And Dylann and I are up here in the cold, frosty tundra of Minnesota. So
waiting snow.
I love to dream in palm trees.
Uh-huh.
Well, now is a good time of year to be there.
Yes, it is. Definitely.
Not in the summer.
No. Well, it's okay in the summer too.
So we are going to have Kat, I think, read first. Although, we did not cover what everyone is drinking. I don't know. We are called Romance Happy Hour. And I did make the drink of the week because it's good. So if you haven't tried it, our Wild and Witchy is actually pretty tasty this time. But are you drinking anything special?
I'm not, because I wasn't sure I would be able to read if I was drinking anything special or anything at all.
I don't have to read tonight. I just have to hostess. So
I'm with you, Kat, because every time I have to read, I try to get Dylann to let me read first. That way I can just start downing it afterwards. But last time she didn't let me do that. She made me read second.
Oh, yeah. You make it sound like I'm in charge. Like I have any control over you whatsoever, Dawn.
We actually were sipping pina coladas an hour and a half ago.
Yum.
But I will probably have a Dr. Pepper by the time the broadcast is over. That's my choice. But it's funny because this reminds me of we have a local drunk spelling bee on every Monday night.
Oh, fun.
And you have to chug a beer and then spell a word. And then if you pass the next round, you chug another beer, spell a word, and go on. And reading aloud is very similar to trying to spell a word when you are intoxicated. And it's just so interesting because it's like the smartest people and they get absolutely perplexed over a word that we should know, like potpourri. I had no idea how to spell potpourri the other day. So it's a tough one.
You know what? Now I want to do that here on the
I know. I was just thinking now we're going to end up doing drunken romance happy hour.
Yeah. Thanksgiving. Christmas,
word of the day. Word of the day.
Oh my gosh.
That would be fun.
That would be a blast.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Or every time you say love, you have to take a drink.
Yeah, you
have to take a sip. So, and I did see you've got your wine glass this time, Dawn.
Well, I have this one. So my kids broke my other one.
The Partners in Wine.
Yeah, I have my Partners in Wine, but my kids are also ruining it by putting it in the dishwasher. I'm kind of upset.
I think maybe we need to just get you a sippy cup.
You know what, though? I think I can fix that with my Cricut.
I bet you could.
Oh, yeah.
I do need a sippy cup, though. Do they make wine sippy cups?
They do. Actually, I have some for the cabin that have a little lid on them and you can't tip them over. So it comes in handy with all the mosquitoes. They're just stemless. And so they're like Weeble Wobbles. You just can't tip them over. So
really? I mean, have you tried?
I was about to say, that sounds like something after 3 or 4 glasses. Someone's like, we can tip this over.
We could try.
Yeah, let's do it.
Give it our best shot.
Next time you go to the cabin, bring one home.
Well, we'll just do a live while I'm at the cabin.
All right. Yeah.
Me trying.
I want to see your cabin and your beavers anyways.
Oh my gosh. Okay. We're not talking about the beavers anymore. Every episode now, the beavers come up. We have nuisance beavers on our lake, and we joked about it one time. They were actually bringing in professional trappers to trap the
Oh.
nuisance beavers because they were damming up the lake and
Yep.
messing with the ecosystem. But last time I was at the cabin, we had a nuisance beaver sighting, and it was pretty exciting.
Are they
So-
like pretty fierce creatures? Like I used to think raccoons were really cute until I got chickens, and now I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
god, I hate raccoons. You know, like are beavers the same way? Like, are they ferocious or?
Yeah, they're pretty much this right
like
up there with
possums and run-
raccoons.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I would.
Wow.
The beavers around our place aren't prone to interaction.
That's nice.
We have introverted beavers that are.
And we got to respect the beavers because Linda's here.
Oh,
And
that's true. I know.
that's her
I know.
natural animal.
Yeah,
Oh, I see.
she's our token Canadian, and
She's like Canadian.
She's 7-Up.
she gets very offended when we start bashing the beavers. So, but Alessandra, you mentioned chickens, and I saw on your Instagram. I have been in Key West, and that was one thing that I thought it really struck me as fun and also a little odd. I mean, there's chickens everywhere down there.
Like you have no idea. Like, so no one really knows how all the chickens arrived in Key West. There's like 4 different stories that go around as to where the chickens came from, but they're everywhere. I mean, we're a small island. We're like 5 miles by 3 miles, and they're everywhere. You're in a restaurant, there's chickens walking around. You know, you're crossing the street, there's chickens. They're in the trees. They're everywhere. And I mean, we have thousands on the island, and there's a chicken patrol. Chicken rescue, team. And if you see an injured chicken, you call, and they show up within like 5 minutes. And I follow them on Facebook. They keep updates every time. They're like, picked up a hen at the liquor store, treating her for a hurt foot now. And so they are the most well taken care of. And there's a $250 fine in the city if you harass a chicken.
Oh,
They take it very seriously. Like at car stop, it's a little family. Chicks can cross the road.
So
But,
who feeds them?
No one. I mean, well, everyone. We keep chicken feed in our vehicles, and we feed chicks. We really only feed the babies whenever we see them, but they eat just grass, and they scraps from people feed them from restaurants, and they just eat. Like so we hatched our own chickens from eggs, and it was funny because I was like so like protective of them, but then I'm like, on Duval Street, which is like our crazy party street, there's 1-day-old chicks running around there after their mother, and they're just fine, So it's amazing how they just figure it out, and they find their own place to roost, and they do their own thing, and and they're fine.
so not to interrupt you, my husband posted it twice. He wants to know if you've been to El Sabone. I don't know if I
El
said that
Siboney.
right.
I had lunch at El Siboney today. El Siboney is a Cuban restaurant. It's amazing. I get the chicken there all the time. But like one of the servers is like best friends with my husband. He goes on our boat all the time. Yeah, if you're ever in town, El Siboney is best, Cuban.
I've never been there, but I get pictures from there to my husband's in Port Call there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. And we are closer to Cuba than we are to a Walmart. So we have a lot of really good Cuban food on the island. Yeah. El Siboney is the best. Yeah.
Oh, we had a great time there. I had never been there before, and I was there a couple of years ago, and it was fabulous. And the sunsets were gorgeous.
Yeah. The only thing we don't really have are pretty beaches, but that's why if you ever come, you have to get out on a boat and go, because just like 3 miles out, you're on a gorgeous island and no one's there, and it's just like, I mean, it looks like anywhere in the Caribbean. It's amazing.
Yeah, I've never been down there. I did a short story Dry Tortugas Lighthouse. Like I did that historical, so it's from a while ago. But yeah, I've never been. I'm very jealous. My husband's been a million times, and I have not.
Well, y'all have to go.
I know. See, I have not been. I've not lived at or been to Key West, Florida, Dylan.
That's this running joke. No matter, because Dawn is a military.
And you've been everywhere?
She has lived everywhere. We get guests that come on, and they lived in
no matter where. She's like, I'm there.
Yeah, they lived in a bunkhouse in some remote village in the middle of Arizona. Dawn's like, I lived there. I mean, So You've slept more places than George Washington, Dawn.
Hey.
I don't get that, but I think I should.
I don't get it either.
Thank you, Elle. At least
So
I'm
my
not
history
alone.
is terrible. There's a reason why I've never written historical novels.
Oh, that's funny. Well, I think what we will do is go ahead and get to the reading portion. And are you ready, Kat?
I kind of.
All right.
I gotta warm up my. Oh, there we go. Okay. I am
so
ready.
is there a scene that you need to set up or give us any background or
A little bit. So basically the story is about a nomadic free spirit who gets caught up in a scheme. And it's basically what happens is that she infiltrates a family, not in a bad way. She gets invited in to pretend to be an heiress because there's a grandfather who's deathly ill and he's on his last leg, and she comes in and he thinks that he makes the mistake of thinking that she's his long lost granddaughter. So he rallies, gets better. And so they decide that because he's doing better, that she needs to stay as part of the family for a while. So the older brother is a cybersecurity specialist. So he's super suspicious of her. And she is literally a nomad. She's off the grid. She likes to, she has a camper and she goes from area to area to area and just, massages people and does her new age stuff and just, has fun. So he has issues with her. So it's their, he kind of gets her away from the rest of the family so he can have a chat with her. And she originally met his brother. And as I mentioned, she's a massage girl, or therapist, not girl, but massage therapist. So they just have a little conversation about that. So that's the setup for it.
Okay. Well, we're going to leave you to it and we'll be back after you're done.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Whoops. In just a moment.
Or you can read it.
All right. Did I mention that this is only the third time?
And now she brought herself out of it. Oh, Dylan, you're killing me, Smalls.
Well, any of these work.
Yep.
There I am. Okay. You ready? 1, 2, 3. I think my brother might be in love with you. What? She tore her attention from the view and huffed out a laugh. That's ridiculous. Is it? Paul countered. He's very protective of you. That's because he likes me. Leah turned and studied his expression for several seconds before adding, I'm a nice person. Paul's nostril flared. Are you sleeping with him? He's my client, she shot back. I don't sleep with clients. But you're attracted to him. He has an incredible body, she mused, with a reckless disregard for his escalating annoyance. Great muscles, shoulders to die for, strong thighs. She paused as if taking stock of the impact her words were having. And as a massage therapist, I have to say it's nice when a man takes such good care of his skin. So you are attracted to him. Leah gave an impatient snort. Ethan has impeccable manners, a deep, sexy drawl, and an overabundance of charm. That I'm not the least bit attracted to him made my coworkers of both sexes question my sexual orientation. I'm a professional. I never would have kept Ethan as a client if he'd inspired even a trace of lust. That sort of thing crosses the line for me. You forget, I've seen the two of you together. There's something between you. He's comfortable enough with me to share stuff, she murmured. There's more to it than that. No, there isn't, Leah declared impatiently before sucking in a deep, calming breath. Look, she said, giving her shoulders a shake to relax them. I feel as if we're dancing around something. I don't dance. No, Leah muttered dryly. I expect you don't. Look, for this to work, we really need to find a way to get along. She paused, giving him the opportunity to agree. When he remained silent, Leah chose not to wait him out. How about if I confess something that's hard for me to admit? She cleared her throat and gave a nervous half smile. I find you attractive. He should have regarded the admission as a clever manipulation and met it with skepticism. Instead, her confession lit up his body like a fireworks finale. Why would you tell me something like that? It gives you a little power over me, she said, with a sexy, sweet smile that sent an electric pulse zipping along his nerve endings. And you think I need that, he countered, bothered that she had him all figured out. Well, maybe not all figured out, but she had a pretty good idea of what made him tick. It served as a reminder that he needed to stay on his guard around her. Don't you? Her presumptive manner bordered on overconfidence. I think you crave being in control all the time, and I'll bet it drives you crazy when things don't go according to plan. I don't go crazy, he said, stepping into her space, unwilling to consider his real motivation for what he was about to do. I adapt. Leah misjudged the reason Paul closed the gap between them and never saw the kiss coming. Being caught completely by surprise heightened the emotional impact of his soft breath feathering across her skin. An instant later, his lips touched hers, and a million stars exploded behind her eyelids. He cradled her head with his strong fingers, grounding her while the firm, masterful pressure of his mouth stole her breath and her equilibrium. Paul's kisses were in a class all by themselves. Never before had she been so swept up in the magic of the moment, the perfection of his lips gliding over hers, the hitch in his breath as she shifted her weight onto her toes and leaned into him. Leah never wanted the kiss to end, but couldn't explain why. What was it about Paul that called to her? He'd offered her nothing but skepticism and scowls. Yet the clean, masculine scent of him, the gentle sweep of his fingertips against her skin, unleashed both joy and hunger. When he sucked on her lower lip, she groaned and gave him full access to her mouth. His tongue swept against hers, and the taste of him only increased her appetite for more. Leah tunneled her fingers into his hair to keep their mouths fused as he fed on her lips, and she devoured him in return. His arm banded around her waist, drawing her snugly against his hard torso. While she appreciated Paul's powerful body from a distance, pressed like this against the unyielding solidity of his strong abs sharpened the longing to feel his weight settle over her. She'd been kissed enough to recognize she never experienced anything like this before. Where moments ago she'd been shivering in the cool breeze coming off the ocean, now her skin burned as fire raced through her veins. Paul must have recognized the upward tick in her passion because his hand curved over her butt and squeezed just hard enough to send a jolt of pleasure lancing between her thighs. She gasped and arched her back, driving her breasts against him to satisfy their craving for contact. His fingers tightened on her, the grip almost bruising, and then he was breaking off the kiss and relaxing his hold. Leah might have cried out in protest, but an icy lash of sea wind struck her overheated flesh, wrenching her back to reality. She shifted a half step back, surprised at the unsteadiness of her knees. Setting her hand on Paul's chest for balance, she noted his rough exhalation. Her own heart was pumping hard in the aftermath. She looked up and caught a glimpse of the twin green flames flickering in his eyes. A moment later, all trace of heat vanished from his gaze. Had she imagined it? As much as it pained her to leave the warmth and comfort of his embrace, Leah needed distance to gather her thoughts and make sense of what just happened. Paul had made it crystal clear that he didn't like her, so what was he doing? Was that meant to determine whether I was telling you the truth about being attracted to you? Lisa panted, scanning Paul's expression and hoping it wasn't what the kiss had been about. Why would you think I'd do that? He countered, dragging his thumb over his lower lip. Mesmerized by the action, Lisa shivered as pleasurable aftershocks continued to rock her body. Because you don't believe anything I say. The bitterness in her tone caught her by surprise. She wished Paul's good opinion wasn't so important to her. So what's the verdict? Do you think I'm attracted to you? Yes. He waited a beat for her to retort. When none came, he raised his eyebrows. Aren't you going to ask me if the feeling is mutual? Leah shook her head and forced her muscles to relax. I don't want to play those sort of games with you.
Well, can I ask you, how did you decide to do a massage therapist?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I used to go to a massage therapist once a week, and of course, it's like the most amazing experience of my life. I guess part of it was I wanted her to have something that she could go from place to place to do. And I know that she would have to get licensed, different states get licensed in different states to do it. But she's just, she's kind of it's a good way to make money, I guess, for somebody who's moving around quite a bit. So
yeah. I'm saying that because my husband and I we have a membership at a spa and I love it. And I actually worked at a spa last year. And Yeah, and they, I'm not as a therapist, as the front desk person, but they used to joke like, "Oh, someday you're going to write a book about me." So I'm going to have to tell them that Kat already did.
Well, no, I mean, it's there's plenty of room in the world for more massage therapists, heroines.
I was wondering where you were going to go with that story at first there, Dawn. I'm glad to see where it went. So
we stayed in a clean place.
we did.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
I will say one of the male massage therapists, when they found out I was a writer, they said, what would you put me as, or if I was a historical? And I said, I don't know, cowboy. Like, that's what I write. Cowboy, historical cowboys. He's like, maybe I'll be like a Western massage therapist. Like, okay.
Like in the 1800s in a log mining town.
He's like, but you have to make me a beta because I'm definitely not an alpha.
Like,
okay.
But he knew like what an alpha. I mean,
he was like,
progressive
like,
thing.
I'm definitely not an alpha. I will never ever be an alpha. I'm definitely a beta. And I'm like, okay, dude. Like,
okay, I will.
You'll be a beta.
We'll put him in.
Yeah.
So if anyone has questions for Kat, go ahead and toss them in the comments.
Yeah. I did not see any questions.
I did not either, which is kind of odd. Everybody's being very quiet tonight.
Yeah.
Well,
that's because Linda is she's a little under the weather.
Kat, you said this is like book 5, or this is from book 4, but you're writing book 5 or not finishing. So are they all different characters? How is the series connected?
So what I did with the first 3 books is I had kind of an arcing story. So there were 6 people all together, so 3 different couples, but they were all in each other's books, so to speak. And so the same thing will happen with this one, because the first book, she's pretending to be the heiress. And then the second book, the heiress shows up, but she's not the heroine. And then hopefully I'll get to write one more book where I get to write the heiress's story. So I like writing. I like writing connected.
In order.
Yeah, they should, but they still are standalone. I mean, it's not a huge surprise. I mean, it kind of doesn't matter who the heiress is, because they all have their own stories. But it was one of those. This one, I had a standalone story idea, and then the next thing you know, I'm like, oh, I probably should like figure out an heiress for that people are going to want to know about it, about who she is. So, and the interesting thing is that I have the brother, Ethan. He's set up pretty strongly in the story. And I think everybody's expecting that the cousin heiress is going to be his heroine. And my editor was sort of like, yeah, we can't do that. Even because Ethan's adopted. But it's still like first cousins, and even the ones adopted, it's still, and they've never known each other. It still was like, so, but I've had a number of people have in the reviews are like, oh, I know that it's going to be Ethan's story next. And with the heirs, I'm like, yeah, I can't do that.
All right. We got a couple things, but first I'd like to say, Alessandra, super cute dog.
Yes.
He's a camera hog, if you haven't noticed. So yeah.
So my husband wants to say he doesn't have any questions, but very great descriptive writing.
Oh,
he loved it.
Thank you.
And Linda says, does writing energize or exhaust you?
Both, because I like writing once I get into it, but just getting into it, I have a hard time.
Yeah. So
it's sitting down and writing those first 5 words, and then it gets better. But the biggest problem I have is actually sitting and writing, because my back I've been starting to have lower back issues. So like right now I'm sitting on an ice pack. So I have a treadmill, and I walk and write, or I actually dictate, and I actually have something on my phone that I can dictate and then actually edit on my phone.
Now, did that take you a while to get used to?
A little bit, yeah. The dictating, yeah.
You have to dictate punctuation.
Yes, and that's not the hard part. The hard part is getting the dictation to give you put the right words in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes
the character's name that's funky.
That and just some of the things that it comes up with. It's just if I speak too fast or if it doesn't hear it quite right, I look back over it and I'm like, wait, what was that? So, but I love dictating because it's because it gets the rhythm going, and then I can always edit. I can fix things. I can fix whatever in the edit. Especially good for dialogue.
Yeah,
because you can out the dialogue like nothing. So
I gotta be honest. I am frightened of dictating. Like, I'm scared of it. I want to, but I'm not that brave.
Well, you know what I do, and I mainly do it when I'm under deadline or my back. I have back issues. I have back disease, but I just dictate on my voice recorder, and I don't do any punctuation or anything, but I do use voices with my characters, and then I send it to rev.com, and for $1 a minute, they type it all up for me and put paragraphs in and put the punctuation and put the quotes and everything. And they're fast. Like, I'll dictate out 20 minutes and I go to lunch and I come back and it's in my inbox.
Cool.
And they also have an automated system that's pretty good, but it doesn't catch the punctuation. But it'll do it all. It'll transcribe it all very accurately, but without punctuation. And that's like 10 cents a minute or 5. I don't know. It's super cheap. So
wow.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Nice.
I tried to dictate in my car when I was driving to a conference in Omaha one time, and I was so proud of myself because, I mean, I had like 5,000 words I dictated, in 3 hours, and then it took me 3 days to fix it because it didn't make any sense at all. I mean, it had nothing to do with my story or anything. So,
Oh my God. So, Dylan, did you save the dictated version?
oh, I probably have it somewhere. And then, like a big truck would rumble by and my whole thing would just kind of be like, no, it was awful.
Now, I was gonna say my favorite thing is that I don't hit the dictate button or it automatically like kicks back off again.
Yep.
So I have dictated the best stuff you've ever heard in your life, and none of it was recording. So that was fun too.
That's so weird.
Bummer.
I was going to say, Dylan, you should give us a little excerpt of your dictated words and then have our readers try to
guess what I meant.
Yes,
I mean, it wasn't even legible. It wasn't even sentences. It was just complete garbage. And I had no idea. I'll see if I can still find it.
That would be
after that, I decided if I'm going to dictate, I'm going to wait until the Dragon Professional goes on sale. That's what I'm going to get.
I dictated in the car, and actually it was pretty good. I dictated in the car driving and dictated, and I got about 7,000 words done. I was on my way down to visit a friend of mine in Tennessee, and unfortunately a lot of it, needed to be fixed because, all that, but it did give me some help. But yeah, it's harder in the car. It's also bad in the bathtub because it echoes funny. So you get really weird words.
So you have to say like quotation mark, blah, 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 quotation mark.
Right.
I think that would bring you out of it. Oh, yeah.
That's why I can't do. In my very first time dictating in a car, I got in an accident, and I have never told my husband what I was like. It was the dumbest accident for me to be in. He's like, "What were you doing? We were on your phone." I was like, "No," but when I listened back to the recording, I was in the middle of it, and I'm like, it came out.
All right. So Karen wants to know, do you have a word count goal each day? No, she's got a couple questions. Do you have a word count goal each day you write? Do you have stories on audio? And how far in the future do you have books lined up? We'll go one at a time.
Yes, I have a goal every day. It kind of depends on where I'm at in the project I'm in. I try to write, I know this sounds like not a lot because you guys are incredibly prolific, but I try to do about 1,000 words a day. And that sometimes works better than others. I can do more if I'm just doing a first draft. It slows down a lot if I'm trying to edit. So that's kind of where it goes. I am on audio. through Harlequin. You can find me on Audible and Harlequin somewhere. I know they've got some audio somewhere. I'm terrible about that. And I've got books coming out in the future. I'm sort of in 2020. I got 2 books, I think, coming out in 2020, the latter part. So,
okay. And Alessandra, Linda wants to know what your puppy's name is.
I have 3. The camera hog is Bella. You will probably, before the hour is up, see JJ and Capone also. And they're all Yorkie poos. So they're half Yorkie, half toy poodle.
cute.
Great breed. If anybody wants a non-shedding, non-yippy, like playful breed, I highly recommend Yorkie poos. One of them's like sprinting towards me. I think
I heard his name.
Talking about me. Yes.
Okay, and let me see. Why don't we I saved the rest of the questions because we're like at almost 9:40, so we need to hear from Alessandra.
All right.
Sounds good. All right. I'm going to go slow here and see if I don't mess this up. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to do this, deliberately and carefully.
Looking good. All right. Okay, perfect. All right. So I'm Alessandra. I write mostly, I write romance and suspense novels, and I've written 22 novels. And today I'm reading From Filthy Vows, which is came out 3 months ago, and its sequel just came out today. You do not have to read the sequel. You can read Filthy Vows as a standalone. And I actually wrote it as a standalone, but then everyone's like, we want more of this couple. So they got a second book, which just came out today, and it's Twisted Marriage. So just to preface, this book is about a married couple, Easton and Elle. They've been married, I want to say 6 years. They've been together 5 or 6 years, and they met in college. And this book is about Elle, the wife, starts to tell her husband, Easton, her deepest, most secret fantasies, sexual fantasies. And the book is about what happens when she shares those with her husband and how it changes their marriage. So this book is rated X, RX, but the excerpt I'm about to read is very clean in nature. Let me, just to set the stage, Elle and Easton, Easton's best friend, Easton is the husband, Easton's best friend is named Aaron. Aaron is going through a divorce, and they are about to get news that his divorce became final. So that's Aaron is living with them while going through this separation with his wife. So, all right, I'm gonna start my timer because I just want to make sure I don't talk too long. So, all right, here we go. The divorce became final on Tuesday, the same day as my ill-fated but barely successful closing. Easton and I were in the midst of an argument on whether to get Waylon his own Whopper Jr., Waylon's their dog, when I got the text from Chelsea, who'd heard the news from Becca's sister. I glanced at my phone, cut Easton off mid-sentence, and told him the news. Abandoning our spot in the Burger King drive-thru, we cut across the parking lot, hopped a curb, and headed home. From the back seat, Waylon let out a mournful whine. I told you, he knows. Easton tried to reach back and pet his head, but Waylon slunk to the passenger side, out of reach. It doesn't matter if he knows. He doesn't have to get something just because we're getting something. That expectation teaches him to beg. Not getting him something teaches him to beg. You don't know that because you never get him anything and he always begs. Did Aaron text you? I can't believe that Chelsea found this out before we did. Take Freeman over. Madison Avenue is going to be ridiculous. I haven't heard anything from him. Maybe he's at the house. Aaron was at the house. I stopped in the kitchen and spied him sitting on the back deck, one flip-flopped foot propped up on our hibiscus pot. As I watched, he twisted the cap off his beer and tossed it in the general direction of the trash can. Easton came beside me and followed my gaze through the window. Look, I whispered, pointing to the papers on the patio table beside Aaron. It was a thick stack, Jim clipped together at the top with a court seal pressed into the cover page. Chelsea was right. The divorce is done. Poor guy, Easton said. He's just staring at the pool. He's probably wondering why we can't afford to fix it, or why we haven't stuck some koi out there. Our pool had been at the top of a renovation list we'd never started, the broken pump and cracked walls now framing a 3-foot pond of algae-thick sludge that occupied the deep end and rose and fell with the rain levels. I think you have to install an air filter pump in order for koi to live. Becca's such a bitch. I can't believe we introduced them. Technically, this is partly our fault. Do you think he's crying? He's not a big crier. Remember when we watched Armageddon? Not everyone cries in that movie. I think he cried at their wedding when she was walking down the aisle. Those could have been tears of remorse, or allergies, or your onion breath. I gripped his arm. Wait, something's happening. Aaron's head turned slowly to one side, his strong profile visible. Elle? Aaron said my name clearly at a normal volume, and I stiffened. Yes? You know, the doggy door is open. I can hear everything you guys are saying. Easton glared at me, and I shot the look right back at him. I didn't open it, I whispered. You should have checked, he hissed. Yeah, I can hear all of that, too. The acoustics out here are incredible. It's like being in a concrete bowl. At least he didn't sound like he was crying. I pushed by Easton and pulled open the door, giving him a cautious smile. Hey there. God, you guys have convoluted conversations. Your concern for me was overshadowed by like 9 other things. We were getting back around to you, Easton said, following me out into the porch and pulling the door shut behind him. Well, I'm fine. Easton took a sip of the beer, his gaze returning to the pool. You don't have to be fine. I moved the other chair into the shaded part of the porch and sat. It's okay to be upset. Honestly, I'm just exhausted right now. I'm glad it's over. C'est la vie. I watched as he took another sip of beer, his handsome features blank and unemotional. He did look exhausted. I thought of him in the limo in Vegas, the way he'd closed his eyes and rested his head back on the seat. What had he said? That he was tired. Tired and heartbroken. 3.5 weeks later, and he certainly hadn't gotten any rest. Easton picked up the stack of papers. This looks thick. That's what she said. He gave a weak smile, then lifted his shoulders in a shrug. It's all legal jargon. I didn't even read it. If she's screwing me over, she's screwing me. Easton shot me a look, and I subtly shook my head, not wanting him to push Aaron, especially when he was in this mood. I stood from the chair and opened the cooler. Shifting through the half-melted ice, I snagged 2 more beers. Cracking the tops off both, I passed one to E. Hey, here's to new beginnings. Aaron held out his beer. To new beginnings. We clinked bottles, and I saw a bit of the tension ease from Aaron's shoulders. I think I'm going to stop because I think if I continue the next scene, it's going to be too long. So I'm going to stop there. That's the end of that.
All right.
That was the cleanest scene I could find. So.
That was very clean, except for the pool.
I was like, I don't know if, well, you can't see us back down there, but I was like, my husband came in to get himself some more wine before going back out to listen. And I was like telling him, I'm like, she just told it. That's what she said, Joe.
It's hard to do the male voices. Like I have total newfound respect for all of my audiobook narrators. Mm-hmm. So, all the times when I'm like, she sounds so bad as a man, now I know how hard it is, especially to do 2 different guy voices in the same time.
Right.
That's funny. All right. So we do have some questions left over. Let's see. Have you ever changed a title after starting the story?
Are we both answering these questions? Or?
I mean, it's just general. Usually it's general. Are you?
I'll go first. All the time. Normally, I don't even have the title. There have been times I'm like finished with the book, finished with edits, and I have no idea what the title is. That's how the book I'm editing or rewriting right now that's due in 6 days, I don't have a title for that. And it's titles are really hard because you don't have another book that has the same title. and you want something that people can spell, and you want something that sounds unique and sounds different, and they're really hard.
I
What about
agree.
you, Kat?
I don't get to pick any of my titles, so they ask for suggestions, and I send them 5 suggestions, and they never pick any of them.
Yeah.
And I end up with things like Seductive Secrets, which so every once in a while I do push for something, but generally I don't. I have done some self-published stuff though, and titles I love playing with titles, especially catchy ones. So but yeah, titles are tough. They're important and they're really, really tough.
I love Dylan's titles. Like, she always has the cutest things, and sometimes she doubts herself, and I'm like, no, keep it.
What's an example?
Cute. Like Sweet Tea and Second Chances.
I know, Kat and I both, when you said Sweet Tea before, I was like, that's right.
I know. I saw that when at the conference or the book signing we were at. I was like,
Yep.
Sweet Tea girls, yay!
Yep. It's such a Southern thing.
It is. Well, mine's just a series name, so.
All right. So also they want to know, what book events do you have in the future?
Stop. I'm going to Shameless Book Con in Orlando next year, in 2020. I'm also going to Book Bonanza, which is in Dallas, Texas, in 2020. And then I have an annual authors conference that's also in Dallas, Texas. We don't have a reader event attached to it, but it's the event I look forward to the most each year. So, and that's called Inkers Con.
Okay. What about you, Kat?
I've got a local book signing that I'm going to do next August. Royal Touch readers. It's at the Mall of America. It was a great event that we did this year, and so we're going to repeat it next year. So I'm really excited about that. So that's about it.
Dylan?
Yeah, I got way over burnt out on signings.
I imagine.
I think almost everyone. It's so funny. Like, we used to all do like 8 or 9 a year, and now I'm like 1 or 2 maybe. Because it's hard to travel, and it's hard to bring books and things like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
What about you, Dylan? You got any more this year?
I have one more this year, and it's just the local library. Dakota County Library System does a local author thing, and I submitted for that, and so I'll be there the first weekend in November. And then next year I have one in Chicago that I've signed up for, and that's it so far.
Fun.
Nice.
No.
I've got one next month. I haven't officially done, but I'm going to officially do it tomorrow. So it'll be the Seven Cities Book Fest. It's my local one here in Virginia, Chesapeake. So if anybody's local, come join me. My husband will be there. He will be my assistant, and there is a cocktail party. So if anybody saw my Facebook, it's black, white, and red all over. So we're going to be dressing up for that. In our interpretation, and I love my husband to death because he's like, you need to make me a shirt, a long sleeve fancy shirt that has words all over it. Yeah. So,
and I think we're going to need pictures of that.
Yes, we will definitely have pictures because we're going to go like fancy, like we're like cocktail party people, but we're going to have like book words all over us.
That's cool.
That'll be fun.
So maybe we'll win the prize, but probably not. We'll see. All right. So let's see. I had this somewhere.
Yeah, I saw another one go by. It was a question from Linda. She wants to know, what author do you fangirl over?
Yeah.
Just one?
Yeah.
One or two? You could name your top 3.
Well, Gillian Flynn is my unicorn author who I will never ever have a chance to meet, but I hope I do sometime, so I can convince her to write another book.
Does she have another one in the works?
No,
nothing, huh?
If she does, it's a complete secret that no one knows about. It's because she basically has been writing screenplays and working on TV shows and for her books, which dang, I understand wanting to do that, but still. Alessandra needs another book. So, I've met almost every. I respect so many of the authors in our industry, and I've gotten a chance to befriend, most of them. So it's really, I don't know if I fangirl anymore, but there are authors that I always really love to see. One is Rain Miller, who I haven't seen in several years. One is C.D. Reese. And there's a gazillion more. Kat, do you have any that you?
I mean, there's a ton. I read a lot outside of the romance genre. So I love mysteries, and I read a ton of, or actually I listen to, because I can do two things at once, a ton of fantasy. And so there's a lot of fantasy authors that I love. And like I said, mystery authors. And I've gotten to the point where I can't fall asleep anymore without a book in my ear.
Mm-hmm.
So I chew through books. So, I mean, there's just so many authors that are just, phenomenal. And I mean, one of the ones that just jumps into my mind is, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Nevada Barr. She writes mysteries. She's really a beautiful writer, and her stories are excellent as well. But I had a chance to fangirl and meet her at a BoucherCon conference, and that was really, really fun. So, and of course, I made a complete idiot out of myself with Robin Carr, and she was so gracious, and I was such an idiot. I mean, and like I said, she was just like, "Oh, that's really nice," and I'm like, "I am so sorry, I just did that to you." So yeah, there's just so many people. I mean, there's more people that I find every day.
Yeah.
That is, that I love. And so, yeah.
What about you, Dylan?
I had my fangirl moment when I got to meet Diana Gabaldon at the conference in Arizona a couple of years ago.
Nice.
So, yeah, that was pretty exciting. And then I did embarrass myself in front of Sylvia Day at my first RWA. So.
Oh my gosh. I think I've embarrassed myself in front of all of my favorite authors.
What?
Like,
you don't really?
Like I fangirl over Brenda, and I think Karen knows that already, because we fangirl together. And but Brenda is so sweet. She's a friend of mine. But and then Dylan actually. I love Jodie Thomas. Jodie Thomas, Linda Little Miller. I'm a Western writer, but I'm moving over to contemporary. But so Jodie Thomas, Linda Little Miller, and who was it recently? Oh, Susan Wiggs. So all of those, I have met them all. And nope, I lie. I haven't met Linda Little Miller, but she's the reason I joined RWA. But yeah, I've totally fangirl. Oh, and I'm sorry, Julia Quinn. Basically I fangirl over everybody. So we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But I've been like, oh my God. So I'm like, totally love you. At conferences, and they're just like, okay, wacko, move it along.
That's really nice. Thank you.
Yes, next. No, it's all good. So I have a question. I wanted to find out from both of you if you're plotters or pantsers or somewhere in between.
Yeah.
You go ahead, Kat.
I used to be a pantser, and I'm not a plotter. Basically, I have characters, and I use the cat, save the cat thing, and I live by that. But yeah, I tend to get into a story and discover where it's going, unfortunately, part of the way through. So, but I'm trying to be better about plotting. But
I'm the same. I would absolutely love to be an outliner. I outlined one book, and it was like the smoothest, best experience I ever had. It was like book number 12. I've never been able to do it again. I'm what I call, and I totally stole this from someone else, a panty liner, which is a plot. which is a pantser and an outliner combined. My students, I teach writing and publishing and marketing. My male students really didn't like that term. So it's brought up planter, which is a plotter and a pantser.
Yeah.
It isn't nearly as funny,
Yeah.
but it's much more masculine. So I do, I will plot out like my next 5 scenes.
Okay.
And then I write them, and then I'll do my next 3 to 5 scenes, and that seems to be the most I can do. Or I'll do like a broad, huge story arc, and so I know the main stopping points I need to get to, but I give myself freedom to get there however I need to.
Well, and I've actually watched your video where you have all the note cards.
Yeah.
So I tried that for my last book, and actually they're right here. I have my note cards. Look at that.
Mhm.
I love it. Color coded and everything.
That's right.
So Alessandra, am I saying that right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Because I've had like 2 glasses of wine.
Yeah.
So Linda wants to know, and she's our resident Canadian, wants to know if you know her friend Martha France.
I think I've met Martha before somewhere. So yeah, and I have met a lot of Marthas, so I don't know anybody's last name, but that name sounds familiar, so I must have met Martha before. If I don't know her outside, I don't think I know her outside the writing world, though.
Yeah.
Martha is actually watching, and she said,
"Oh, she is." Okay.
I was going to say,
see the chat anymore.
scroll down there.
I can see the chat.
Oh, there she is. Hi, Martha.
I disappeared.
You got to
Hi,
scroll
Martha.
down, Dawn.
Have we met? Was I right? Yes. So,
Oh,
yeah.
I totally missed that one.
Mhm.
Sorry, Martha.
That is all right. I don't see any other questions, though. So if anybody has anything else, go ahead and pop it into
3
the
minutes.
chat. Yeah, because we're almost out of time. So besides Dawn, is anyone else dressing up for Halloween this year? Do you have any costume parties to go to?
We have, so in Key West, Fantasy Fest is a 10-day festival that starts the 18th and runs to the 28th. And every single day is a different costume, is like 8 different costume parties. So
Wow.
on the 20th is the zombie bike ride. So that's the first thing we're going to dress up for. And it's like 1,200 people on bikes dressed like zombies. And everyone picks like a different, like me and our friends were going as nerd zombies. So we're all going to dress like nerds and then like zombie up our nerd costumes. And we ride, like there's like, you all meet at the fort and then it's like a 1-mile-long ride. And it's just pure drinking and debauchery. 6 hours. No one gets any work done during these 10 days. And then there's just like, I will need 6 or 7 costumes before the end of the week. But yeah, so it's going to be nonstop starting on the 18th.
So is the zombie one the one you're most excited about, or is there one that
No, it's not. Tutu Tuesday, like all the locals wear tutus, like guys, girls, everyone wears a tutu. And there's a giant walk that you do that's like, and that's cool because there's just like pets are in tutus and there's
chickens?
Well,
or would that be harassment?
Yeah, I have seen chickens on leashes before, but my chickens will not be in tutus. And that's just like that's a great group walk. But then there's like a headdress ball, and I have bits and pieces of costumes, but I need to. The theme this year is there's a theme every year. This year's theme is off in tune but off. On beat but off tune or something. It's a weird thing, but basically it's like music, everything music. So I'm going to be like a cabaret show girl one day, and I think we might do like Elvis like another day. So everything's going to be music themed. So I might do Grease or something like that. We are not prepared. It's so funny because every year it's like, we're going to prepare. We're going to get like when Halloween costumes go on sale, we can grab costumes then. And it's always down to the wire where we're like, okay, we have 7 days and we have to figure out something. And, yeah.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
When
It
I got
is.
back from Key West, I described it to my husband as like year-long spring break for grown-ups. Is that
It is.
kind of the vibe that
Well,
happens year-round?
It's funny. So we've been to Mardi Gras.
Mhm.
Oh.
We needed a Panhandle. We used to go to Mardi Gras. It's not at all like Mardi Gras, mainly because Mardi Gras, like anyone can come from the surrounding area. You can just like drive over, party at Mardi Gras for the day and leave. Because Key West is at the southernmost tip of Florida and it's like 4-hour drive from Miami, you have to really get here and you have to have a hotel room in advance. And hotel rooms are like $600 a night minimum. Like, and you know, everything is so expensive. So it's a very polite crowd. It's amazing. I was in full body paint, like pasties and a thong on full body paint for 2 days straight, and no one touched me. People would ask to take your photo. Like one, actually, I was groped twice, both by women. But the men were super respectful. It was crazy and very clean. Now, granted, I'm in bed by 11. Like we didn't go to all the sex parties and stuff that happen all the time. But there's a lot that goes on. Like it gets crazy. I don't know. I'm in bed. Like we're like the 7 to 10 p.m. at night people, and so then
The pre-party crowd.
yeah.
Well, it
That's
was
one
fun.
of
We
my
had a good time.
husband's. That's one of my husband's like vacations that he wants to take me on. He wants to go on a cruise. He wants to go to Key West with me. He's been there so many times. He wants to experience with his wife.
If you're gonna go, you should go during Fantasy Fest, because even if you don't, even if you're like super modest, it's still like you can just sit and people watch, and it's the most entertaining, creative costumes. I mean, it's just it's just a lot of fun.
My husband just said that he's been to Fantasy Fest. Apparently, he has.
Well, he will have to tell stories.
Yeah,
I think he
Yeah,
should do
I
the
wanna
body paint. Dawn, tell Steve.
Yeah,
he should do body paint
Body
for Fantasy
paint,
Fest
body
next time they're in port.
and his hotel is a Coast Guard cutter, so that's no fun. But let's see.
We did get like 1 or 2 more questions.
Yeah, they want to know favorite drink, alcoholic drink, and favorite snack.
Go ahead, Kat.
Dark and Stormy. I started drinking those after a trip to the Caribbean,
Ooh,
and
I've never had
it's a great
Me
drink
neither.
it's a great drink in Minnesota in January because it makes you think, hey, I'm on a sailboat in the British Virgin Islands. Favorite snack, anything crunchy, salty and crunchy, pretzels and peanuts and potato chips. So
I know you're
I'm not
there with
healthy.
Dylan, so I'm going to ask you that this January, February, you bring her a Dark and Stormy because she gets really cabin feverish and starts wearing sunglasses.
Yeah, well, I've got the
One
Black
time I
Seal
did
rum and the
She has all
ginger
the
beer
ingredients.
in my closet, or my
All right.
pantry, so we're good.
All right, I'll come to you, Kat.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
she starts getting cabin fever, and then there's just no
It's
One
awful
timer
here.
wore sunglasses on our episode in protest. And
protest.
I think it was one of
cold here.
those, like it had warmed up, and so you got the taste of spring, and then it snowed again, and
And then she was just, can I say pissed?
well, you just did, so it's
Yeah.
not like we have a censor or anything.
And then she was just pissed off at winter after that.
That's right.
It's gonna snow this weekend.
Oh, I know. No, it's already. I don't know if we have writer friends on Facebook. I've been watching Montana.
Oh,
Yeah.
my
mom.
and the Dakotas are getting hit right now. So
I know. No, it's
People
ridiculous.
in Florida have no idea. In Virginia, no idea.
That's right.
I'm in Virginia.
And as I
My
said,
mom-
in Virginia.
Yeah. My mom's in Montana, and she did send us a video of our land with snow on it. So
3 feet.
yeah,
That's crazy.
crazy.
Too early.
Couple years, Dylan, I'll be racing you for snow levels.
You can have it, honey.
All right.
Did you have a favorite drink, Alessandra?
Yeah, I
Favorite
like,
snack?
I'm either a rum runner or Malibu and pineapple.
Mm.
Those are my
Ooh,
drinks
that's
of
good
choice.
too.
And I like sweet, like stuff that I can't taste alcohol in is what I like. And my favorite snack is I have nutty bars. That's normally what I eat when I'm like writing and I need some bit of chocolate and peanut butter. or like grapes and watermelon. That's normally what I run to the fridge and grab. Not very exciting.
Better choices than what I would go for. So, well, I think that's it. I don't see any other questions.
No.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys.
Don't see
Thank
any
you
other.
guys.
Thank you
Awesome.
very much for joining
Yeah.
us. We really appreciate it, and it was fun to
Oh,
hear.
are we supposed to talk about our giveaways?
Yep. I was gonna say that right before we hang up.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. You reminded me. I might have totally forgotten. So we do have giveaways posted on the Romance Happy Hour Facebook page. Kat is giving away a $20 Amazon gift card, and there's a link to join her newsletter there. And Alessandra is giving away a signed paperback of the first book in the duet. And U.S. shipping only on that, I think, is what we had in there. And there's a link to join her newsletter.
I can extend it to Canada since I know we have a Canadian. So
yes, we definitely have a Canadian.
Though I shipped this book to Canada and it was seized recently.
Oh, really?
What happened to it? They didn't send it back either. The guy's like, it says that it was seized, and I don't know how to get it back. So, but that's the only time I've ever had that happen.
That's
so
weird.
Maybe it was just a reader at the post office.
A dangerous import.
Yeah.
I've sent books to Canada and not had
Me too.
anything
Books
seized,
to
but
Canada. Like I don't
that's
know.
odd.
I don't know what was going on. Maybe because I did media mail shipping, but
somebody wanted a good read is what it was.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Oh my!
all right. So if our token Canadian wins, we'll do our best
fingers
to hide it. Maybe you should put like a biology fake cover on it or something.
Bible.
Or a Bible, right? We'll figure something out. So.
That's funny.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, and I hope that you have a great time at Fantasy Fest, Alessandra. We can't wait to see pictures.
Yeah, follow me on social media and see all the pictures.
Sounds good. And Kat, we'll look for pictures of you and me with our slippers on, with our feet propped up next to the fire.
Flip flops. Life does better in flip flops.
Right.
Okay.
And that drink that's gonna get you out of the cabin.
Dark and stormy.
Dark
That's
and
right.
stormy.
Yep.
Gonna help you.
We may have to feature a dark and stormy
Ooh, let's
in an
do
upcoming episode for our drink.
I think we should do it January, February. That way, those people that also have cabin fever, you're like, let's do it.
Yep. I'll get the recipe for you.
Yep. All right. That sounds great. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. And next time we have Sharon Ray and Marilyn Kelly coming up. Yes. Oh, and we do also have a winner to announce. Our Starbucks gift card goes to Celeste Straub. So I will follow up with you on that. So, thank you very much. And we will see you next time.
Bye.
All right. Good night.